I don't know if people know this, but you cannot even establish business credit without having an exceptional credit score.
People don't know what to do. Like they can't direct any action toward the right things because they don't have the right information.
Credit is one of the most important aspects of life. I know a lot of people say cash is king, but that is absolutely not true in this day and age. You literally can't even rent an apartment without having a decent or good credit score.
I have a business account at Navy Federal, but do you know whether or not they're personal guarantee?
So Navy Federal business credit cards are not personal guarantee.
Okay, boom. So we got so much to talk about. So I keep my business, this real personal. My business credit, my shit good at Navy Federal. Personal, I do whatever I want to sometimes. But can I go down there and get a business loan or a business credit card without my personal credit being real good?
Yes and no, because
check me. We live in our phones, but what if we can make them? Got every app in the world, where's the participation? Looking for representation. Don't overlook the pavement, Silicon Valley was patient. So join the movement, we ain't got too much time to be wasted. I said it's deeper than cold. Vibe with me, yeah, it's deeper than cold.
Hey y'all, and welcome back to It's Deeper Than Code. I'm Shelby.
And I'm Big Papa Code.
And today we have another special episode with a special guest. Jasmine Baker is a distinguished financial literacy mentor and coach with over 7 years of experience as a serial entrepreneur and public speaker. Currently based in Atlanta, Georgia, Jasmine has made a significant impact in the industry by helping more than 58 individuals becoming homeowners. Her dedication to financial education and empowerment has established her as an industry leader. Jasmine continues to inspire and mentor others, guiding them towards financial freedom and success. Y'all, welcome, Jasmine.
Thank you, guys.
Perfect. What are we talking about today?
Well, what we're talking about today, we forgot Zach again.
Yo, wait a minute.
Dare you? How dare you? We even talked about it.
Like,
Okay, cool.
Zach's like, wait, what about me?
And also, we cannot forget Zach, our wild card narrator. And today we are talking about unlocking financial success, understanding credit, and FICO scores. We all need that. What's up, Arthur?
Yeah, so the way we're kind of connecting this today is, as we've mentioned before, we've mentioned the success formula, which is going to pop up right now on the screen. And it is, C for character, plus M for mindset, plus SK for specialized knowledge, multiplied by directed action, DA, all divided by O, which are your obstacles, and all of that equals your results. And we've made a point previously that what's lacking, specifically in our community, is that specialized knowledge. Like, people don't know what to do. Like, they can't direct any action toward the right things because they don't have the right information. So that information is the thing that will unlock, our full potential. And one of those things that is integral, no matter what industry you're part of, whether it's the tech industry or something else or hair,
Amazing.
Doesn't matter what it is. You need to have a good handle on financial literacy. And that shouldn't be something that only a few have. And that's why we brought Jasmine on, because Jasmine's an expert that can point us in the right direction. And, without further ado, let's grill her with some questions so that we can make sure everybody knows.
First things first, what is credit and how does it function in the financial system?
So credit is basically some numbers that determines where you're going to live, what type of car you drive, what type of interest rate that you're going to get. It's basically how they keep up with you in a system to know, everything from where you lived before, how many credit cards you had, how many student loans. It is made up of, payment history. It's also made up of utilization. 10% is credit mixed. Another 10% is inquiries, like the things that you've applied for. And yeah, it basically determines everything. It's the factoring in how much money you'll be able to borrow, what they will lend you. And it is one of the most important aspects of life. I know a lot of people say cash is king, but that is absolutely not true in this day and age. You literally can't even rent an apartment without having a decent or good credit score.
That's crazy. And you know what it is? Remember I just said that I heard that credit wasn't gonna be a thing? No, I just seen that credit was only invented in like the 1980s.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
That was their way of keeping, minorities from being in their areas. If they say you have to have this credit score and you didn't have it, then you weren't welcome into that area. So it was kind of a way for them to keep us separated.
Interesting. And that was the 80s?
That was the 80s, 1980s. That's crazy. You're older than credit. Ain't that crazy?
I'm not. So first
You're
of all,
older than credit.
I'm born in 88. Don't do that.
Oh,
I already got enough years on me. You don't need to add no extra years.
But ain't that crazy?
Now
we really
you feel so old.
I love you, Arthur. We have to work harder nowadays. Like back in the day, it was just cool for you to get your job, get your home, get a car. Everything was cool. But now we have to work way too hard. I didn't ask for this. I feel like our parents should take care
Being
of
an
us
adult
forever.
sucks.
When I say this is the most ghettoest hood I've
It's
ever
so
lived
ghetto.
in, adulthood is ghetto. Okay? So the overview of the FICO scores, what is the role in determining your credit worthiness when it comes to the FICO score?
The role in determining your credit worthiness is really your overall credit report and everything on it. So they are looking for, how many loans have you taken out? How many credit cards have you been able to open? What is your payment history like? Do you have a history of paying on time? Do you have a history of paying late? It's really just kind of like a report card. You remember in school, we had report cards and people can look at your report card and be like, oh, she bad. That's literally what a credit score is. They can literally make a 10-second decision just looking at your credit score and your history of things that you've done and be like, nah, we ain't lending her nothing. Yeah.
That's crazy. That is so crazy. So tell us how you motivate other people to get their credit scores up, get homes. How do you do that?
So first of all, I had to, when I got into credit, it was mainly for myself. I've been a businesswoman many, many years. Before I was in the credit industry, I was a hairstylist. And I just remember, yes.
You used to be a hairstylist?
Yes.
Oh my God. I love that.
Yes. And I was a very well-known hairstylist in Chicago. And I just remember not being able to fully invest into my business like I wanted to because I didn't have the capital. So, and when it comes to the hair business, it's expensive, especially if you're trying to sell products.
I can't wait till this episode over. We have so much to talk about.
Yes.
Oh
Yes, ma'am. So I really wanted to better myself so that I can be able to, it was really about business credit for me.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started doing my research because y'all know we got so many credit gurus and YouTube University giving out false information. So I was told that, forget about personal credit. You can just go on and get you some business credit. So I'm like, that's what I'm going to do.
Right.
I'm like, I'm going to skip credit because I ain't that good at that. I got late payments. I had a bankruptcy. I had a bunch of inquiries. And I was just like, you know what? Credit is too hard. Forget it. So I started doing my research. And then I realized wow, I've been uneducated. I don't know if people know this, but you cannot even establish business credit without having an exceptional credit score. You can build the business credit all you want, but if you don't have the personal credit to back you up, then it's extremely hard to get funding. I don't care. My business, I have been in business for years. My business was making good money. I was still getting denied because they were like, your personal score. Because they're looking at, if the business go bankrupt tomorrow, can we depend on you as the person to be able to pay us our money back? And at that time, my profile didn't reflect that. Mm-hmm. So when I started doing my research, I was like, okay, there's no way around this. I have to fix my personal credit. So I started joining all type of Facebook groups. One thing about me, when I want something, I obsess over it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So from morning to night, I'm joining Facebook groups. I'm on YouTube. I'm doing research, just figuring out this credit thing. How does it work? How do I delete the stuff that I already have that's negative? That was my biggest issue. Because it's you really can't move forward until you erase the mistakes that you've already made. And see, the thing with us, because financial literacy is lacking in our community, nobody teaches us about it. So when we become adults, we're just lost. We're just out there trying to find our way. We're putting stuff in our name for people. We just really don't understand that this is so important. If you mess this up, you're literally stuck for a while until you fix it. And then some people give up and they don't even want to fix it at all. So I started doing my research and I figured out, okay, I need to learn the laws. I need to learn what laws do I have. The FCRA law, I had to start, learning what do I say to them to get them to even respond to me in removing these debts. So it's called a debt validation letter. That was the first thing that I, did my research. And I was like, okay, so I need to send everybody that I owe a debt validation letter because I want to see what do you have to prove that I took out this debt. Mm-hmm. And see, a lot of people don't know. Some debts on your credit report aren't even really yours, or you may not even owe that amount, or, they may not have anything to actually tie you to that debt. Legally, they have to have some type of proof that you signed a contract or something with your name on it showing that you were the one to actually take out this debt because, there's a lot of identity theft. People steal identities every day. So when you do a debt validation letter, it's kind of like, well, send me proof that it was me that actually opened this account. Mm-hmm. Can I see that? And once I sent in that debt validation letter, I started looking over it and I realized there's so many inaccuracies from, they had my birthday wrong, they had my middle initial wrong. Mm-hmm. They had so many things wrong on there, and that kind of gave me leverage to start disputing these items. Mm-hmm. So I got into the credit industry really trying to better myself and, fixed my credit the first time, messed it right back up.
But at least you knew how to fix it, though. You knew how to fix it.
You got to bump your head a couple of times with this credit thing. But, I fixed it, got it all the way to a 700, went through hard times and then messed it up again. I think I ended up getting a car that I couldn't afford. And I think that this is one thing that a lot of people go through. We're so thirsty to get things that we can't afford. Mm-hmm. So instead of me going to get a car that I can pay like $1,000 or $2,000 for, I went and got a vehicle that was kind of living above my means at that time because I could not afford an $800 car note at that time. So
what'd you get? You got to tell us what you got.
It wasn't even a nice car. That's the thing. Like I was just
because I did that. I got a 745, and I'm gonna tell you, like my kids wouldn't exist if I didn't get that 745. That's how I picked. Never mind. My kids wouldn't be alive.
But hey, your wife fast. I understand. I get it.
Listen, when you are thirsty and you just like, I need a car. Because at that moment, I was just like, I just don't want to be the girl without a car. So I don't care. They gave me paperwork. I didn't even look at it. I didn't look at the terms. I didn't look at the interest rate. Mm-hmm. And I know y'all heard of Santander. They have been sued.
When I say Santander can kiss the bottom of a jailman's shoe, baby, they can kiss it.
Yeah, they're the worst.
The worst.
Santander has so many people in these shark loans, is what I call them. Mm-hmm. And they basically get you in these car loans that you'll never be able to pay them off because everything that you pay towards the principal really goes towards the interest. So instead of you, like, let's just say you get a car that costs $26,000. By the time you're done paying Santander, you done paid $50,000, $60,000 for a $23,000 car, all because of the interest rate. And because you didn't have the score that was needed that time to get you the right interest rate. So Santander is like one of the worst car companies that you can go through. They really only want to give cars to people who don't have financial literacy. And repossessions but they've been sued so many times. So it's really easy to get out of a loan like Santander because they have a horrible track record of getting people into these shark loans. But yeah, just really wanting, to have an exceptional credit score so I can invest in myself. I was very uneducated. I looked at credit like it was a bad thing because that's what my grandmother told me. She was like, don't use credit for nothing. She like, you're going to owe these people and you're going to get in debt. So don't use credit. So I always looked at credit like it was just a horrible thing. Like, and then when I got older and I started doing my research and I'm like, Granny, you were wrong. Like,
it wasn't out when she was young though. You know what I'm saying? So she like, this something new, don't touch it.
Yep.
The government trying to kill us.
Yep.
Don't touch it. You know what I'm saying?
She's just being a good grandmother, looking out for her granddaughter. But when I did my own research, I went back and I taught my mother and I taught my grandmother because I'm like, listen, guys, that's why none of you guys are homeowners. That's why none of you guys own anything. Credit is very important. And if you want to leave something behind other than bills, because our people, they leave us behind bills.
Bills, baby. That's it. Please.
Not wheels, bills. So I'm like, we have to get educated so that we can understand how to beat the system. Because if you can't beat them, you have to join them. And that's what I did. I did my research. I messed my credit up. I refixed it again. And then the second time I was like, okay, I got it. So I've never gotten a late payment since. And it's now been since 2019 that I've been maintaining a great credit score.
I know we got that.
That's what's up.
Explain
That's
to us.
5 years.
Yes.
Oh, that's what's up.
It's really good, right? It's been about 5 months for me, but
Hey, but you still moving in the right
hey,
direction.
listen, we're getting somewhere, you know?
Exactly.
So explain to us the 5 key components of a FICO score. FICO. Is it FICO or FICO?
FICO.
FICO. There we go.
So payment history is basically everything that you've ever borrowed or any credit card that you've ever had. They report monthly to your report. So the longer and the better your credit history is, the higher your score, because 35% is almost like a big chunk of how they decide what your credit score is going to be.
Right.
Credit utilization, that means how much money you are actually using. So for instance, if they give you a $50,000 credit card and you're using $25,000 of it, you're using 50% of your available credit, which would lower your credit score because they want to make sure you're not living above your means when it comes to credit. So the more available credit that you have and the less that you use, the higher your score is going to be.
Okay, cool.
So the length of credit history is just showing how long have you been paying your bills on time. And it's not the actual number, it's an average number. So just because you've been paying your bills on time for 10 years with one account doesn't mean that you're going to have 10 years of payment history. They give you an average number against all accounts. So anytime you open up a new account, you'll see that your credit age actually goes down.
So sick of these hoes. The new credit is 10%.
Yeah.
What is that?
So new credit is what I was just explaining. When every time you open up a new account, that's 10% of your score. So you'll see your score drop every time you open up a new account because now your credit age is going down.
Oh, you did just say that. That's why I said I'm sick of these hoes. And then credit mix, that's 10%.
So credit mix means they want to see a mixture of credit. You can't just have only credit cards. You can't just have only lines of credit. They want to see a mortgage. They want to see a car note. They want to see different lines of credit, loans and things like that to give you an overall score. So the bigger your mix is, the higher your credit score is. That's why what we were talking about earlier when we was like, some people sit at 720, 750 for a long time and they're not understanding why. I pay my bills on time. I got all these accounts. I've never been late. Why can't I get above that 720? It's because your profile is too thin and you need more of a mixture of accounts.
I need more credit cards.
Yeah, go ahead and get one for us. It's deeper than Cole needs one. We loves it. So.
I got 2 mortgages. But
well, I have a question. I have so many questions. I'm so happy you're on the show because I've just been...
Zach's like, oh, I got some.
We need you.
I'm a small business owner. I'm 25. I just have so many questions about credit. The 2 things that scare me most are taxes and my credit, right? I keep me up at night. So I got an accountant, but now I kind of need someone I always have questions, right? So I have a business credit card. I heard you were saying that you can't open a business credit if your personal credit isn't good, but does my business credit affect my personal credit?
So some of them do, not all. So how you'll know that is when you get it under your business name, they call it a personal guarantee, right? A personal guarantee. That means that we're going to give you a business credit card, but we want you to sign to say that if the business go bankrupt or you can't pay us our money, you're going to personally pay it back. So when you personally guarantee, that card can still report to your personal credit. But then you have credit cards, for instance, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Brex or Capital on Tap.
Brex.
Those are strictly business credit cards. So they don't report to your score, which is a great thing because guess what? If you max it out, now you don't have to worry about your score, dropping. So always ask, is this card, is this personal guaranteed? Because you don't want them to tell you, for instance, banks like Chase is not a real business credit card. And I have to tell my clients this all the time because they don't understand why when they get a Chase card, their score is dropping. And I have to explain to them, guys, Chase is personal guarantee. So it's not a real business credit card. A real business credit card, they're only going to ask for your EIN and not your social. And that's another way to have a clue whether you're getting an actual business credit card or if it's a personal guarantee card. If they're asking for your personal information and your personal social, more than likely, this is going to affect your personal credit as well.
So, like, also, if my name is on my business card,
exactly,
it's affecting my personal credit.
Exactly.
And I have a Chase business card, so that makes sense.
Get out of it.
So I should open another business card that's not
only under your business name, that doesn't report. And a good one to have that I really like, I don't know if you have Navy Federal. Navy Federal is my favorite bank ever.
I love Navy. Yes,
ever.
I can't wait. Look, honestly, I got so many questions.
I was in the Navy.
I'm sitting here thinking like I can't even listen.
Am I missing something by not
I keep telling you,
is.
I gotta give you my access number, bro. We can go down there tomorrow.
Yeah. Navy is the bank.
I mean, I have a Navy Federal. I think I still have the account open, but I haven't used it in like 10 years.
I love Navy Federal. So I have so many questions. So I always hear that banks are bad and that we need to be with credit unions. But because I have a business account at Navy Federal, but do you know whether or not they're personal guarantee?
So Navy Federal business credit cards are not personal guarantee.
Okay, boom. So we got so much to talk about. So I keep my business, this real personal, my business credit, my shit good at Navy Federal. Personal, I do whatever I want to sometimes. But can I go down there and get a business loan or a business credit card without my personal credit being real good?
Yes and no, because initially when you apply, they want to look at your score to approve you, right? But when you get the card, right, the thing that I love about Navy and how they helped me, I had so much personal debt that when I got their business credit card, I did something called a balance transfer. Are you guys familiar with that?
No, tell us.
That's basically when you can transfer your debt over from one card to the next card. So I transferred my personal debt so that my credit score wouldn't be so low over to the business credit card. So now that utilization, remember we talked about that 35% utilization, it no longer affects me. So now I can go out and get more credit.
I can't wait to be your client.
But is it necessarily a bad thing if you're personally tied to a business credit card?
No, it's not a bad thing at all. I think it more so depends on how often do you plan on using that card and how often do you plan on using your credit. If you know that you're getting ready to make a major purchase, you want to purchase a home, you want to purchase a car, or maybe you're just still in that building stage where you're still building all of your available credit up, it's better to use business credit cards that doesn't affect your personal score because it hides the debt. And that's what it's about, hiding that debt. You don't want them to look on your credit report and say, oh, she owe $50,000. We can't give it to her.
Right.
If it's connected to the EIN and only on the business credit side, they can't see all of that debt that you may have accumulated from your business.
But I may, let's say, want them to see it. Like if I'm always paying this credit card off that's in my business and personal name, like, doesn't that kind of benefit me at some point?
Absolutely. If you're a person that always pays the card down, because you know that ain't all of us. Some of us,
I'm like,
we'll sit on that balance for a couple of
Okay, Zach.
I'm guilty of this. Like I'll pay the minimum balance as long as I can. But if you're a person that pays in full, absolutely, that absolutely helps you. And it helps them to want to give you more money because they see that you're a person that pays often and you pay the full balance. And banks love that.
Okay, another question.
But what about
for
your
you.
DT? But it might mess up your DTI though, right?
Exactly.
Wait, what's DTI again?
Debt to income ratio.
Oh. So another question. I have an old credit card. Remember I was mentioning earlier off camera that my parents opened a credit card for me when I was like 15 years old, right? I still have this credit card.
Snappy says for your parents, send you up.
Yeah, no, for real.
Okay, setting you up. Yes.
Shout out to you.
So I still have this credit card and it's still open under my name. I check my credit, it's still there, but I don't use it. Does that negatively impact my credit if I have this open line that I don't use?
No, but sometimes if you go too long without using a credit card, they will close it. And how it will affect you is you'll lose that credit age. If it's one of your oldest cards, your score can drop significantly just from using that credit age. That's why even with her, I was saying tell her dad to add her as an authorized user, because what it's going to do, it's going to show that she's been paying her bills on time way longer than she actually has. And that's what make them ultimately trust you and giving you higher limits, because they like, oh, she's been paying her bills on time since 1987, but that was really dad. You know what I mean? Yes. It wasn't her, it was dad. So it definitely helps you with the credit age.
So follow-up question, unrelated, because now I'm just on the tear right now. I'm getting answers to my questions that I've been wondering forever.
That you've been up all night for the past 3 nights.
So again, off camera, mentioned I've been paying off my truck I got it in 2020. So when I finish paying off this truck, I'm going to lose that credit line and it's going to negatively impact my credit. What's something I can do to offset that, like open a new account, or what would you suggest? Like I mentioned buying a piece of property or something. Like what's something I can do to offset me losing that huge credit line on my truck?
One of the things you can do, they have a lot of, they call credit builder accounts. You guys probably know about Ava, Kickoff, things like that. Self. I would definitely have a few of those on there as old as possible. I have a Kickoff that I had for many, many years. It definitely adds probably like an extra 30, 40 points to my profile just from how old it is. So I keep that active and open just because it does fluctuate. You know, you may pay a car off. Now, the thing is, when you do pay cars off, it's not really going to drop. You're not going to lose as many points as you would if you had a late payment from the car. But it still affects your credit mix. So just having any type of installment loan, any loan period still reporting to your credit when that closes is going to help you. So
is my business card a different kind of credit mix than like a personal credit card?
No.
Because it's just counts as a credit card.
Yep. It just counts as a credit card. It's just that you're personal guaranteeing it. So really, we shouldn't even be calling Chase credit cards business credit cards. And, you know, they probably would be like, she hating on me for saying this. But you really can't say that it's a business credit card is if when every time I use it, you're going to drop my personal score. A business credit card is a card that I can go max it out today. You give me $50,000, I can go use the $50,000 today, and I don't have to worry about my score dropping. So I would suggest getting like a Divvy. Have you ever heard of Divvy?
No.
Okay, so Divvy is an amazing bank that only pull your EIN number. That's all they ask you for. And they don't report to your personal credit at all. Even people who have went delinquent with them. I have clients who, you know, some clients are just wild. They don't want to pay their bills. They didn't even report the debt to their personal credit score. And that's really what you want. Because let's keep it real, guys. Businesses go out of business every single day. For lack of capital. Maybe you want to switch lanes. Maybe you ran into financial hardship. And you don't want, if that business ends, you have all that debt from that business on your personal profile. So I always say leverage Chase, leverage these banks, because it does look good on your profile when you're going to apply for the Divvy and the Brex and all the other credit cards, because they like, oh, he got Chase.
Right.
You know, he got these cards already. So it's nothing. It's a no-brainer for them to give you $75,000 because they can look at your profile and see that you can't handle it.
Right. And even if, like, let's say a business goes under or something, you can't, and you have your personal name attached to it, you can't file for bankruptcy because they'll go after your personal assets as well.
Exactly. Exactly my point. So that's why I always tell people, separate your business from your personal as soon as you can. Like, I know in the beginning when we're just starting out, that's easier said than done because we have to use our personal money to kind of get the business off the ground. But once you get your score where you need it to be, and once you've gotten approved for a couple different personal guarantee credit cards, it's time to go straight to the business credit side, because that's the cheat code. Having an exceptional credit score, you don't have to do net 30s and all of that, like building it up. Sometimes it takes people years to build up that business credit. When you have an exceptional credit score, they'll just start approving you right away on the business side.
So how would I go about separating personal and business?
So balance transfers, what I told you, any balances that you're holding on to the personal side, get a business credit card that doesn't report, like a Navy Federal business reward card. That's one of my favorite business credit cards to use. I can max it out all day. It does not affect me, my utilization. It doesn't show up on my profile. My Divvy credit card doesn't show up on my personal profile. And I just recommend just switching whatever personal debt that you have over to the business as quick as possible.
And when you make that switch, you know how it's like how old that credit line is? If I transfer it from that business card that's attached to my personal to a strictly business card, does it have the same like age?
So no,
Okay.
It doesn't have the same age, but the good thing about business credit cards, it's not a FICO score. So it's not 35% utilization. It's not all of that. Like the more you use on the business side, the more they give you. So that's the cool thing about business credit. Like they're okay with you maxing out and they'll give you another credit card. It's the personal side where if you're maxed out, you'll get denied, not the business.
What's the significance of like a Dun & Bradstreet number when it comes to business?
So your Dun & Bradstreet number is kind of, I would compare it to kind of like an Experian or Equifax. It's kind of like a credit bureau for business credit, and they keep track of all your relationships with different business vendors. So some business vendors don't even report to Dun & Bradstreet, but what I love about Dun & Bradstreet is you can self-report. So if you have someone that you're paying every month, it could be one of your vendors you get your hair from. It could be one of your vendors that you're constantly doing business with. Maybe somebody you get your equipment from. You can have them report that you're paying them monthly, and that'll help your Dun & Bradstreet score. Yep, you can self-report. That's what I love about the business credit side. You can literally report all of those things yourself versus like on the personal side, we have to actually have those accounts.
Yeah.
And they have to have proof versus the business. You can just tell them the name of the vendor, what business you had, how much you paid them. They put it on your profile. Now you have a 80 paydex score. Just that easy.
We love them. Okay, so let's get into interest rates. So how, like having a higher credit score obviously means that you'll have lower interest rates, right?
Yes.
Okay, so explain that to us as far as like saving money and stuff when it comes to higher interest rates. Am I wording that right? You get what I'm trying to say? Okay, cool.
So yes, interest rates are extremely important. And I preach this to my clients on a day-to-day basis because one of the main things when they come to me, they love to come last minute and be like, I want a car by tomorrow. And I'm like, listen, even if we fixed your credit in 90 days, because we have an amazing software that has fast results and can really like get somebody to where they want to be within 90 days. But realistically, right, if your score isn't where they want it to be to give you a low interest rate, and the interest rate it's basically making you pay double of whatever it is that you're purchasing, then it's not a good purchase. Because remember, I explained to you guys, if everything you're paying is going towards interest and not towards principal, then you're not necessarily paying off that debt.
Right.
You're just paying the company more interest rate. For instance, when you have a credit card, us carrying that balance, paying that minimum payment, it's only messing us up in the long run.
Yep.
Versus us just paying the whole balance down to zero, we're going to end up paying way more than we spent on interest.
Right.
So, interest just accumulates. The longer you have something out, the higher the interest rate is going to get. So anytime you get a lump sum of money, even me, like with my car note, I like to pay it in lump sums. So even though my car note is only $700 a month, I may go ahead and put $1,500 of it because I want the rest of that money to go towards the principal and not towards the interest.
Right. Okay.
That's what's up. And you heard of the rule of 72 before, right? Yeah. So like you could use that to like figure out like how long like it'll take for like it to double, and you could use that in reverse when they're the one that's making the money off the interest.
Yep.
And you could see like, oh yeah, if I pay this interest rate for 5 years, 14.4%, and in 5 years I'll have doubled the amount or whatever the case may be.
Yep.
It doesn't work exactly the same in reverse, but you can still like approximate it. So if you're seeing like you got a 20% interest rate, you're like, man, and then I got to pay this for 7 years. I mean, I'm gonna freaking double it twice.
Right.
This is ridiculous. So yeah, you're gonna want to try to do that.
That's crazy. So is it true that some employers will check your credit score for a job?
Absolutely.
And why do they do that?
I think for the main reason why apartments check, I think that they want to know that you're reliable. I think that they want to know that you are dependable. And it didn't used to be like that with credit. You know, people weren't really digging that deep into credit. They'll be like, you make the money, it's okay. But because we've been in so many situations where people actually do make the money, but they have poor money management skills. And they're realizing that just because you make $5,000 a month doesn't mean that you're going to pay your bills on time. I need to see, can you actually manage money? Because if you can't manage money, then you probably can't manage time, which probably means you're going to be late and you're not going to be a dependable employee. So me personally, you know, if I had a business, no shots, no shade, I would definitely check credit for that. And it's not like we're trying to be prejudiced, but you do want somebody reliable working for you in your business. Like, I've been on both sides. So me being a business owner, I have hired people who were totally unreliable. I mean, no call, no show, won't tell you, you know, they're going on vacation. You look up on their Instagram, they done told you they sick and they out in Tulum with the girls. And it's like, you got orders that need to go out. So you do want to know if somebody is responsible.
Not they in Tulum. Oh my gosh.
You do want to.
But you know what? But it's funny you said that because like I worked at this particular company I worked at that paid really, really high salaries. There was one person I knew, their salary was $700K, right? So they make a lot of freaking money, right? And when I tell you this was the brokest person in world history because of like the way they used to handle their money, they would just, I'm like, yo, man, you make $700K. And it's like
where's it going?
Yeah.
Job, I mean, like I said, I don't think that is right because it do close off a lot of opportunities for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it's also time for us to understand that this is a part of life. This is the way of life.
Yeah.
You're either going to get with the program or you're going to be without. And for me, that was the reason why I said, okay, sis, you can't get no more late payments. So I didn't go get my Range Rover until I knew for a fact I can afford this payment.
Yeah.
I waited. I drove my little putt-putt for however long I had to do it. And I waited until I actually had the budget to be able to pay this car note. Because I think that the reason why we get in a lot of situations is because we don't budget and we don't write down expenses. We just go in and say, oh, yeah, I want this car. I'm going to get it. But you didn't really know if that car note was really in your budget fully. And now you have late payments. You got collections. You got all these things that's holding you back. So I think that it's just a chance for people to embrace it and understand that this is going to teach you discipline.
Yeah.
And it's going to take you to that next level because it has helped me. I have poor money management skills. Like, I will get a check and blow it. I'm going to buy hair, nails.
Okay.
I'm at the club with the girls. Yes. I'm just blowing money. So bottles. Listen, everything on me tonight. And then look at my bank account in the morning like, what the fuck?
Well, I know I had more than that yesterday.
So does that negatively impact your credit when somebody checks your credit?
Yes, inquiries,
absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Inquiries definitely drop your score. And inquiries, if you have too many at once, it could give off the vibe that you're thirsty for credit. Like, oh, this person is thirsty. They just applying for every single thing. So a good way when you do apply, because you know inquiries all fall off usually in 2 years. They fall off on their own. So when I go on my applying sprees is what I like to call them, I wait until all the old inquiries are off. And then when I start applying where I know my score is a 750, I'm going to get approved. I'm going to go ahead and apply for everything at once. So all of those inquiries can fall off at once. But I do want to say, because a lot of people, when they go buy cars, for instance, they let them run their credit a million different times. I really want people to stop doing that because it really, really messes people up. I've seen people not get approved for home because of that. So one thing that I would say that really helped me and helped my clients, when you're trying to purchase something like a car, go and get the check from Navy Federal. Go and get the check from Chase. Go and get the check for the auto loan.
Don't do it at the car dealership.
Don't do it at the car dealership. A lot of people go to the car dealership, and now this car dealership is so thirsty to make a sale. They're just running your credit everywhere. Whoever will accept you. They're not trying to find you a low interest rate. They're not trying to get you a good deal. They're just trying to make a sale. And now you leave this car dealership, you have a car, but you also have 40 inquiries. And that really hurts people.
Mm-hmm.
What about like when you said you're applying for a job and you check someone's credit? Does that negatively impact their credit score?
Well, usually jobs do something called a soft pull. Soft pulls do not affect your credit.
Which is like when I go to check my credit score through my bank or something.
Exactly. And another example of a soft pull is when you ask for a credit limit increase. Some banks do a hard pull and some do a soft pull. So Navy Federal, one of my favorite banks, I love them. You can ask for 1,000 increases and it does not affect your credit score.
We love Navy.
I'm sleeping on Navy.
No,
Federal.
when I say I love Navy, I love Navy.
You're sleeping on Navy. Navy is the first bank when I was in my rebuilding stage that gave me a chance. They really opened the door up. I've only been with them since 2020 and I have $180,000 in available credit from Navy Federal.
Period. I've been with them for 2020, but my shit ain't that high though. We gotta talk.
You gotta keep asking Navy Federal. They only pull from TransUnion. So you want to make sure your TransUnion score is pretty high.
That's my good one.
Yeah. You know, TransUnion usually the one that be the good score. It be Experian that be acting crazy.
Yeah, we need to burn them down.
Navy,
no, for real.
Navy Federal does not sponsor this podcast. But if you would...
we love Navy.
They don't. I'm about to go.
But if you want to sponsor this podcast, please reach out to Big Papa
Please
Code.
Yes, please, we need that. So what's some so you just mentioned some stuff about getting some inquiries off, but what's some actionable tips that you would give somebody to improve their credit from having like late payments or their credit history is not that well? What's some tips that you would give somebody to like help build that up?
So first and foremost, I would say like if you already have late payments and stuff, I would definitely start disputing right away. Make sure you're using AI software. I don't know if you guys know, credit repair has changed a lot. They are not removing negative items like they used to. When you have somebody disputing on your behalf, they legally can stall them out for 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. That's why you hear so many people saying, I paid $1,000 for this person to fix my credit and I didn't get no results. It's because the credit bureaus don't want credit repair companies disputing for you. They want you to send the letters in yourself. So I always recommend using an AI software where it could generate the letters for you and you can send them to the post, take them to the post office and send them out yourself. So I know a lot of people ask me that question all the time. Hey, I've been in credit repair for 7 months. I see that he's sending the letters, but I'm not getting any results. That is the reason. You need to send the letters out from your zip code, from your IP address, so that they know that these letters are coming from you with your ID and your proof of address attached to the letters. And then you will start to see the late payments and the negative items fall off your credit report. Yep.
That's real good. Thank y'all for coming to see us. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we will see y'all again next Sunday at 9:00. Bye.
I'm the one that you should call when you learn to code. Success follow me around if you didn't know. From the bottom, so the top, the only way to go. Yeah, man, they call me Mr. CTO. I'm the one that you should call when you learn to code. Success follow me around if you didn't know. From the bottom, so the top, the only way to go. Got in this game from a humble beginning, but now we winning.